Hello? Can you hear me now? I don't know what was going on with the mic there, but I think the software for the mic, well, the software I'm using to just boost the mic slightly, so it's better for you guys. Kept crashing. I've restarted it, and now it seems to be up. So for the third time now, this is only gonna be a short stream. There's a couple little bits I wanted to do to the world sort of generation side of things. That I wanted to do, so I thought, why not stream it? I want to try and stream as much of this game as I can. I'm working on a streaming schedule, so at the moment it looks like it's going to be I'm going to try and stream every weekend when I can, so Saturday and Sunday, and I'm also thinking about doing Wednesdays as well. So that schedule isn't fixed in place yet. That's the most likely schedule. I will post updates on the Discord when the schedule goes live, and obviously every time I stream there'll be notifications posted. The schedule will also be posted in the Twitch channel. Yeah, so what I've done since last time is I've made the skybox blue now rather than the default Unity graphic. I fixed the player movements. Now you can actually move in your proper direction, so up is up, down is down, left right. I've added a little yellow cube in the player to show the forward direction. I still need to fix it so you can't walk off the world, but we can look at that another stream, the graphics, and we're going to look at another stream as well. So that's what I did off screen. I think there's a couple little bits of code tidy ups I did as well. But that's kind of the main stuff I did off stream. So what I did to fix that is in the player controller, is I created a rotation offset of -45F, because you know -45 is going to be that way, and just did that on the forward, and it just worked straight off. Like, I wasn't expecting it to work quite right, but it just worked straight off. So that's pretty cool. I've also changed this to all use get axes raw, which removes the kind of little gravity in the, so when you press the key it instantly moves rather than it kind of slowing up and speeding up sort of thing. I've also configured so now the player movement is also done from the axes as well, vertical and horizontal, and the player now rotates in the direction that you're going, which is pretty cool. It does not quite work right for diagonal, but we can look at fixing that. Again, another stream. And I've also set up a proper input for action, which is the F key. So that's what we use now to hydrate the soil, which works. So what I wanted to do this stream is work on the ability to add new blocks into the world. So that the idea is you'll be able to, unlock more land. So to start off, we'll just hit a button, but it will be tied to resources or money, whatever I decide to go with. But then you get squares appear all the way around the world, and you'll be able to click that square to unlock that piece of land. So we need to expand the rendering and the generation engine to handle that. And so that's what I want to do now. And I may decide in the future that it's going to be multiple bits of land you unlock to help you progress a bit more. But this engine, these changes we do should support both. So I want to take a look at the farm engine here, and I think what I want to do is I want to split this code out into its own function as well, so that we can just, rather than re-rendering the whole thing in the arrays, which is not very efficient, but also it means any animations currently on the screen are going to be interrupted and restart. So I want to separate the actual rendering of the block and that into its own function, so we can call that manually once we've updated the array. So here I'm thinking if we take this code here and then we are going to have, so I've got a spawn player class now that actually automatically spawns the player, or a function I have to say, generate farm, render farm. So here I want to do, so we've got spawn player, I'm also going to do a void, and we'll remove the public from this because we don't need those to be public. So void, and this is going to be generate block, and this is going to be ID, and then it's going to be XZ. That should fix that. ID, so it's int ID, int that. I've been doing so much PHP that forgot about that. So int ID equals ID. So that will still work. Block index, that comes now, changes that to ID. And now what we want to do here, we can just do generate block ID X. So that'll add that into the array like that. Block index, I should say. Block index. And then render farm, we actually want this. So we're going to show this, we're going to render block, which again is going to be XZ, I think. So then we do void render block int X int Z, and that should be fine. That's not running, is it, the game? No, it's not. So that should all be fine. Generate block, render block, there we go. So now it should still all function exactly as it has been. Nice. There we go. So that all still works exactly as it did. Generates the blocks and add that. So what I want to do now is I'm just going to create an update function temporarily, so void update. Then I'm going to say if input.get key down, and let's do key code dot G, for example. Then I'm going to pick a see, the trouble is now we've got width and height, so we're going to need a way to be able to expand that. Because now that's our limitation, is we've got a fixed array size for the width and height. So now we need a max size, I think. So that's width, height. So I think we want to create public int we want to create public int what's going on with my computer? Suddenly does like everything's kind of crashing, like slowing up for some weird reason. What's going on there? Let's just close bits down that we don't need. Okay. So we want to do a max width equals 100, public int max height, which is equal to 100, and then we're going to do start width, start width, start height, there we go, and then we do max height, max width, and then start width, start height. Nice. So now what we can do, we should be able to go So we'll do int x is going to be random.range, and it's going to be start width and max width between that, and then int z is going to be random.range start height, and in between max height start height plus 10. We don't want to go to let's do plus 5. Start width plus 5. Hey, morning bandit, or it's evening for me, but morning for you, I guess. Yeah, hello. So just doing a little bit on the game here, just expanding the world generation so that we can add new blocks into the world when we unlock blocks in the game. 11:23 p.m. It's exactly the same for me. Yeah, just adapting the engine so we can add more blocks on the fly, which is pretty cool. So I've just separated out my block and the actual generating of the block and the rendering of the block into its own function, so we can call those on the fly. So this is what I'm just working at now. I'm just doing it so when you press G, it's going to randomly add a new block, so we can make sure that does work. So now we just want to go generate block, and then we're going to say 0 x z, and then we're going to want to render block. I mean, I guess you could technically call the render after generate, but no, we don't want to do that. How's it been? It's been good. Yeah, I've not say I've done a little bit of this game off screen, but that was just tidying things up, and that was set in a if I just quickly do XZ, we can test that out. So that was just I've set this skybox to be blue. I've fixed the player character direction that you probably saw in the Discord, and that's pretty much what I've done. So we're going to do graphics on another stream. I wanted to do a little bit on the world side of things to get this working. So hopefully now, so everything doesn't work anymore for some weird reason. 102. What's 102? Block X, block Z, blocks. So start width, start height. Okay. So now that we've got this, although it did work when we just did it, didn't we? Just comment these out, just make sure this isn't interfering with anything. Okay. Interesting. 102. So it's our rendering code that's breaking. So if I get rid of render block, just managed to finish my shitty box art assignment due tomorrow. Oh, okay. Box art assignment. So is that some kind of graphical design project you've got? Or are you writing about graphics? Oh, cool. So if you've got to design your own, then I can send it to you if you want to see it. Yeah, sure. Stick it in the Discord, and then I can show it on stream if you don't mind. I'd certainly like to see it anyway, so it'd be good to send it in the Discord if you want. So our rendering code is broken. So why would that be broken? So it's saying let's Let's re-enable the render and look at the proper error again. Oh, I'm an idiot. I did it the wrong way around. Or did I? No, that is correct. Sent on Discord. Okay, cool. I'll take that one moment. So we got the object reference not set to instance of an object. Okay. I mean, that works. So why is new vector 3 block equals that debug.log block.name. So when he gets to the next one, block.name, and then it's going to be x plus z. Sad thing is we're going to use vector for it, so it felt limited. Let's have a look at your art. That's awesome. I like that. That's really good. So did you choose to do a DS game, or did they assign that to you? Did you have to do like a video game cover, or is it just kind of any form of box art? Okay, interesting. I really like what you've done though. That's really cool. Choose the topic, which is yeah, no, that's cool. I like what you've done. That looks really cool. I'll have to put that. So let's have a look at what this error is here. So 0, 0, that 4. Oh, I know what's going on. I know exactly what's going on. What it is because what's happening is what did I just do with that log code? So basically what's happened is because now I've increased the RAID to the size, a max size of the world, it's trying to render blocks that aren't there. So what we need to just say in the render block is this, is if so basically we just need to basically say block equals blocks z x, and then if block does not equal null, then render the block, and that should fix it. Hey, cool. So the question is now, has that farm got smaller? No, I think it's just me being silly. It's definitely that's the same size, isn't it? No, it's not. It has got smaller because I remember now I changed this to 6, didn't I? There we go. I thought I was going crazy. It's like, there we go. So if we press G, what I do want it to do is I want it to say debug.log new block is, and then x plus, well, it would be Z plus X, wouldn't it? Because that's how we're rendering it. Oh no, we are doing it that. Okay. We are doing it human readable. So hopefully that will debug log when we press G. 99. Let's disable the generation code for a minute and just do debug log, and let's move this up above here so that when that error is happening in future, we've still got the coordinates. So we've still got our world generating, and then if we press G, 96. Okay, so nine eight. So we should find one that's 9.8. Ah, look, it is there, but it's off screen. So let's narrow this down to say 3. And if need be, we can just change we can scale back the camera, which I do want to build a zoom function as well. So G, aha, G, G, look at that. So we're now expanding the world. Oh no, that's not that cool. So that's now our that. And what I want to do is I want to put onto the world, I want to create a camera controller. So let's create a C# script called camera controller. And I'm going to put this on the world. If this decides to actually respond to me, thank you. And camera controller, we're going to edit this script. Be right back. Okay, no worries. So we're going to use, rather than using camera.main, because I was playing around with some of the rendering of the character. So there's 2 main cameras at the moment, but one's disabled, where I was using depth mask and culling and stuff like that. So what we'll do is we'll create a public camera and then world camera, and then if world camera equals null, we want to debug log an error. There is no camera to control, and then update. I'll say if input.get button down, zoom in, we'll call it. Else if input.get button down, zoom out. Then we're going to do camera, well, world camera dot orthographic size minus, and then no, that's zooming out. We want to zoom in. No, it is minus because yeah. And then world camera dot orthographic size plus. And now we need to configure our zoom in, zoom outs. So we got project settings, inputs. I'm going to do 22. Oh, not that many inputs. I'm surprised Unity didn't freak out then. Right. I'm going to call this zoom in. which is going to be page up. And then I set to 0, not gravity on that. And then zoom out. I don't know if that's the actual key names you can use in Unity, but we're about to find out. Page down. And then 0 for gravity. And let's see if this works. My own debug thing caught me out. Here we go. If world camera equals null, return. So we're not going to worry about any of that code if our camera is null. So we do that. That's exactly why I did that, because I knew it would catch me out. But I still managed to screw it up. Oh, look at that. That's quite a, I think, a big increase, isn't it? Shall we do... because we can do... 1 is equals... We can do halves. Plus equals 0.5. Yeah, that's a bit better. And we want some granular. I think we want a little bit of a zoom animation as well. Yeah. So let's do equals mathf.lerp, and then we do world camera.orthographic size, and then world camera.orthographic size minus equals minus 0.5f, and then we'll do that over, say, 2f times by time dot delta time. Hopefully we'll have a nice little... Ooh. What happened there? Oh, idiot. Because we're doing times by delta time. That's... Yeah, we want that to be... We want it to be a smooth kind of transition, don't we? Now, Unity camera, smooth zoom. What am I missing here? Using low, for example, I'll smooth it out, just start scripting the camera and it should work. Different ways to interpolation. You can just be like lerp. Here it is used to character so works with examples. Current FOV equals mouth. Lerp FOV start, FOV end. 60. Okay. So Well, what I should have done is rather than use it, I should have put that on the camera. But hey, we can tweak that later. So this is just doing that. Transition time 3. Okay. So if we copy this out here, place this in here, and we want to go change zoom, and then we're going to have private int, and then current zoom private well, let's do float, and then private float zoom step, which is going to be equal to 0.5f, and then private float zoom transition equals it's just a 2f for now. So we're going to change this, so this is going to be current zoom zoom end is going to be equal to change zoom and then float new zoom so it's going to be new zoom, and then that does need a lerp as well, so then private float lerp time minus zoom transition and then current zoom equals that, and then it's going to be current zoom new zoom, and then current zoom minus new zoom. That's going to do that. Oh, for demonstrative purposes only. So we don't actually need that, do we? Dot orthographic size equals current zoom. And then in here we want to do change zoom, and it's going to be that minus equals minus zoom step, and then that's going to be change zoom plus zoom step. Now this might not work, but let's see what it does. Yeah. Unity, let's try ortho graphic camera smooth zoom. Out of curiosity, let's just do that. Let's just do that. And then, so this is saying, so this is what I was trying to do before with lerp, but maybe I was just using it wrong. Hey? Oh, idiot. Dot world camera. It's not working at all, is it? Because it's right. Because I'm only doing it when on the frame that it gets down, isn't it? Yeah. So actually what we need to do is we need to get rid of this completely. Rid of that completely, rid of that completely. And then what we can do actually is get rid of that, get rid of that, and then to current zoom, zoom step, zoom transition. Then we need another zoom that says new zoom. So if new zoom does not equal current zoom, then we can do that new zoom no, that's not going to work, is it? Because we're going to instantly set the new zoom. No, it won't be. Current zoom equals world camera dot orthographic size, and then that's going to be transition. That's going to be zoom transition times by time dot delta time, and then new zoom is going to be equal to, so then we're going to say and return current zoom is equal to world camera dot orthographic size, and then basically going to say current zoom minus equals zoom step, new zoom equals current zoom plus equals zoom step. That's what I was trying before. I knew that other thing would look too complicated. So see if this works. Whoa, what's going on there? Oh, new zoom is equal to current zoom. debug.log new zoom equals new zoom, current zoom is equal to current zoom. Oh, interesting. It's changing to the exact same. Is it something related to that? No. Ugh. Because the minus equals. Yeah, there you go. And I think what we want to do, we want to make that public. So let's put our yeah, let's just make that public as well. And that can go with that. And then we can go public float max zoom. I know. 10 public float min zoom equals 1f, for example. And we can do over here, we'll do new zoom equals math f dot clamp new zoom, and then min zoom max zoom, and that should stop us from going too far out. We can get rid of the logs because we don't need that. And then that should hopefully allow us to set a min and max zoom. So we should be able to go in, but we can't go any that than that, which is cool. And we can go all the way out. And oops, main camera 10. What size is the max we say we might want? 6. Let's try 6. So if we do world and then we'll do 6, and I think maybe 2.5 might be the minimum we want to do. So page up zooms in. Okay, maybe 2, and then 6 is going to be a max zoom. Cool. And then our max, I mean that seems quite far, doesn't it? We'll do 5. And zoom transition, I'm going to speed it up a bit. Now what if we do get button rather than get button down? What does that, how far can we then zoom in and out? Yeah, that's alright, isn't it? And I feel like that transition speed needs to be faster, so rather than making it slower, make it faster. Yeah, there you go. And now you can zoom in and out a lot faster. Oop. maybe let's try 4, see what 4's like. Let's try 3.5. I think that's going to be a nice sweet spot in the middle, I think. Yeah. So now we can do our thing and we can zoom in and out. And I think if we press home, that's going to set our default zoom. So current zoom and private float. Private float is going to be our default zoom, which is going to be equal to default zoom is going to be equal to current zoom. And then else if input dot get button down dot zoom reset, then new zoom is going to equal to default zoom. And again, what I'll probably do is put zoom camera void zoom camera. So we have a zoom logic in a separate function. And we need to set up zoom reset. So now we go back to our inputs in our project settings. We go 23. And then we'll call this zoom reset. And we'll call that home. So now we should be able to reset back. Press home and it resets back to our original zoom. There we go, look at that. See, now we've got our own little camera zoom and we can reset it back. Cool. One thing, obviously, once we've got the world generation bigger, which we can just manually increase the start size, I want the camera to follow the player, so when they get to a certain part of the screen it moves over, so we can do that as well. But that's looking cool. We've got our own little zoom out function now, and we can hold to zoom in, we can zoom out like that, and if we want to go back to the original zoom, you just press home and it goes back in like that with a nice smooth transition. So that's cool. So we have that all set. Now that's saved. Let's just make sure that still works. Yep. Home. Cool. So now we've got our own camera code in there. New zoom is going to equal to that. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, because the once it's finished, the new zoom will be the current zoom essentially, so we don't need to worry about setting that. That works fine. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So now we can test our generation code a little bit better. But if we zoom out, we can press G, and then we can see what type of block we want to add. And let's do on our farm generation code, let's do random dot range 0 1. Well, if it's between, we want to do -1 and 2, right? Does it include it or not? I don't know. We'll see. No, yeah, so it is part of that. So zoom out and we go G. Not getting any dirt, which is interesting. Generate block. Let's do 1. Make sure that still works. So we should be getting dirt. Like G. Oh yeah, look, we've got a crop on there. So we've also now got randomly spawning crops. And we can, if we wanted to, we could go over there and water that. Although interestingly, the watering thing isn't quite working. It's not working on things that have crops, which is interesting. Ah, because we're over the crop. Oh, I see. So we need to basically disable the colliders on the crops in order to stop that happening. So let's get our prefab. And then we go cube, box collider, will turn that off. Apply, and then crop withered. We'll go to here and we'll turn off the box collider on that as well. And bear with me 1 second, I'll be right back. I'm back. Yeah, so our code works. It works. Random range, what does that do? Oh. Inclusive. And max exclusive. That's why. So 0f, 1f, and then we're going to want to convert that into an int. So now when we zoom out and we press G, we should get a mix of dirt and grass. Again, still only getting lots of grass, which is interesting. I think we're getting overlapping now, so we need to make sure that that block isn't occupied. So block, well, yeah, if blocks dot z x does not equals null, I should say, then we do that. And then we can go else debug.log already a block at, and then plus x plus z, so that way we're not generating multiple things over and over again. If we look at this console, we can then tell when it's generating it. Already a block at that. Okay, cool. We can't do minus, can we? Because of oh, so interestingly, it seems to want to. Why is it just in this spot? So now we've got to the point where it's constantly giving. It won't generate more blocks because it's in the same area. So we just need to figure out what's going on there. Well, when we think about it, start with, where is it rendering from? It's rendering from, yeah, there outwards. So 5, 5, 4, 0. So x can still be 0. X can still be 0, but Z will need to be bigger than that. Okay, so X can still be 0, but the height, so to branch out. So hopefully now we should get a bit more variation where our blocks spawn. There we go. Again, let's just step that back a little bit. Because this is obviously 0, 0, so that's going to be our start of the farm outwards. But we will have like a little barn house thing here, which will stop you from going. I think, but then we don't want to progress out that way. We want to be able to progress either way, don't we? So really, what we want is we want this to kind of be the center. We want this, rather than being 0, 0, we want that to start at the center of the world on one axis, don't we? And then you can branch out from there. That's what we want. So that's the next thing to work out. But if I press G, you can now see we're still not getting variation of dirt, which is interesting. But you can see now it's certainly filling in the world. Why is that? Let's just try 2F, because I'm not happy that that's. There we go. Look at that. So now we're getting a mix of dirt and grass spawning in. And we should be able to, yeah, so regardless if we're on a crop or not, we can water the plants. And these should give us a longer time to get ready. In fact, we can probably maximize that on play now, I think. Maximize on play. Yeah. So we keep spawning in. Do. Here we go, and we can, yeah, our code just works. That is exactly what I wanted. This is all being added to the array, and because that's being added to the array, this will come into when we want to save and load levels. It's obviously going to save and load the array essentially. So that's what's happening. Obviously, when we do the manual selection, you won't be able to have these gaps like that. So I don't think we're too worried about fixing that. This is just more of a case of because that'll be a manual click. But yeah, that works. We've now got a bigger well generating, which is pretty cool. And what we could probably do as well is we can probably generate a chunk quickly as well. If we just do 4 int I equals 0, I is less than, I don't know, let's say 4 in a chunk for now, then we should get 4 blocks generated at once. Bam, bam. There we go, that's a bit quicker generation. So now we can have chunks being generated as well if we wanted to. So our code supports that, which is awesome. Obviously we don't have camera movement code yet, but we will have. I mean, do we want the camera following the player all the time, or is it when they go after certain screens? Because I think maybe all the time. We'd have obviously bounds for the camera, but I think the camera following the player, I think, is probably our best bet. I think. I mean, we could actually temporarily, I think. We could where's our farm? If we just quickly do camera.main transform.setParent is equal to playerGo.transform, and then we will just say start width plus 50. Yeah, look, and now we have our camera following the player. So let's press G. In fact, let's also, whilst we're at it, let's increase the chunk to say 20. So my cat's just playing with some cables on the floor. They're all unplugged, don't worry, they're all just completely unplugged. But so now we've got the camera full, and we won't keep this system exactly as it is, I don't think. I mean, maybe we do want the camera to work like that, but we're going to want bounds actually. So now I want the camera, we've got camera controller, so we want to have the movement on its own thing. We don't want to just do the lazy way of adapting it, of just tying the camera to the player like you would in an FPS. That's more kind of FPS. For this game we do it a different way. So let's just G, and we can generate new chunks at will, and this is where we can test the zoom, because I might go one more further out on the zoom actually. Now that we've got a bigger world, we might want more zoom. So let's just quickly do, and just for the sake of like speed, I'm going to do 50 chunks, and then max zoom I'm going to put at 7 for now. Yep, and then we go back to play. Hello, you going to say hi to people? No. So we'll zoom out, and now, yeah, that's better. See, that's a better zoom. Wait, careful. Do you want to go out? I'll leave the door open a little bit so we can come in and out. Well, there we go. Now we're generating a huge amount of our world. Our crops are all going to wither. In fact, if we quickly go over this way and go, ooh, quick, save the crops, save the crops. Here we go, and you can see the clipping now of the world, which we'll obviously fix. But what we can do to fix that, we can increase the clip plane of the camera. So actually, if we quickly go back, rather than maximize on play, let's generate large parts of the world. Yeah, the cat went out, so I knew he wanted to go out of the room. Now he's woken up from his sleep, and then we'll come over here, and then we can adjust the plane on the fly, and we can see actually with our camera what we want to do is Clipping planes near basically what, -1, -2. Ooh. -5. There we go. Wow, this is actually pretty cool, isn't it? Look at the world form around us. How cool is this? It's a -5. And we can adjust that as we're zooming in and out to optimize rendering, but we'll worry about that later. We can. Let's just make sure that has fixed it. So we've got all these crops. There's a weird glitch where the dirt texture sometimes goes clear. Yeah, that's fixed it. Let's just zoom in a little bit. Press home, we go to a default zoom, which is that, and then we can zoom out a bit. And we'll just quickly do all these chunks on the fly. And that's our size. So this is 50. So this is actually kind of what our world size is really going to be, really. And you can see it's quite massive. So, because we want to, I suppose we could put a finite size on the world, couldn't we? But as you can see, this is like, I think this is roughly about half the back size of our world. So you can see this is a pretty darn like big world. It'd be nice if we could extend it out this way as well. So if we have a look at what's actually going on with the coordinates, and again, this is 0, isn't it? So this is 0, 2, 5, 1. Yeah, so we could do 6 for X. Again, that is supposed to be doing that. Two, 3, 5, 1. Oh no, that's Z, isn't it? Z is start height. 0. Yeah, because now we've done that, it's just gonna. If the block's already occupied, it's just gonna do that, isn't it? Yeah. Here we go. Zoom out. That's more like it. And now we're getting a world forming around us. Yay! So now what we want to work on is getting it to spawn in the center. So at the moment you can see we're just in a corner, but we want the world to spawn around us rather than just on these two sides. But that's pretty cool, and that actually enables even more blocks in the world. So this is the default zoom, which is probably quite now we've got it zoomed in this close, that's probably quite big actually. So we want our, we could probably change the camera to be 4 by default, for example. There we go. And then when we spawn in, that's better. I feel that's a much better zoom level. And now we've got everything spawning around us. This is awesome. There we go. So we've now expanded our world generation code to support us dynamically adding blocks. And it's dynamically added into the array, and also the render function is called to render that one block, so that way we're not calling re-render on the whole array, which would be consume a lot more resources, but also when you've got like animals walking around or crops growing, their animations are all going to be reset, which we don't want. So the world can now independently generate, which is pretty cool. Okay. And certainly we could build our own chunk loading system, so as you're moving away chunks get deloaded in the background. But I think, I mean, for now we're fine, but I think for the type of game we're going for and perhaps the size of the world, it's not going to be like Minecraft or Terraria or something where you've got the world constantly being generated, you know. It's going to be a fixed sized world. I don't think we really need to worry about that. I mean, we could certainly do it for optimization's sake, but that's something like way down the line. I think optimization, you know, you do want to do certain bits from the start, but I think there's also, you know, no point wasting time on optimizing, you know, optimizing everything from the get-go because, you know, it's just wasting time when you could be developing the game because you're not going to have, you know, much to start off with that's really going to benefit from the optimization. So, but this is awesome though. And we've got all our crops dying around us, which is awesome. What? The cat's making noises. That's awesome though. So now let's figure out, I'm going to comment out that for now. And let's is public that crop types play free players, yeah. Let's I was going to say, let's figure out this whole centered system thing. So rather being 0, 0 for generate farm, I mean, which we are going to need to do, I suppose, when I suppose we are going to want to do that for when we load in saves and stuff, but we can worry about that later. So if our Z is that, let's say we are going to do generate farm is equal to max height divided by 2 and see what that does. And then we're also going to need to change this to be what is it, max height divided by 2. Question mark. Where the hell is the player? And where's the world? So the player's at 50 and the world is not even being generated, is it? There is no world being generated, that's the issue. Max height. Idiot. Oh no. Plus max height divided by 2. Okay, so our player is in the right place, it's just our camera's not. Main camera 55. our camera dot main dot transform dot local position equals new vector 3. Well, we'll do vector 3 camera. No, wait, no climbing up there. And then equals camera pos, and then here we'll do camera pos dot z equals start height plus 2. Oh. Minus. Okay. Minus start height. There you go. And now we can zoom out. And we should have the world generating around us. We don't, though. This is interesting. We've now done the same thing, but the other side. That's very interesting. Okay. Yeah, look at our 74 FPS. Woo. Actually, let's compare frame rate. So it's starting off at 200. Oh, 80. Okay, so actually, to be honest, frame rate wise, we're doing pretty good. We're not seeing major dips in frame rate. So we're not chugging the render engine, which is cool. I mean, that should work, shouldn't it? I mean, obviously it doesn't, but that's still 0. What are you doing? Just the cat climbing on things. Z equals max height, x equals 0. Okay, so what if we did the same thing here? So we did max width divided by 2, and then plus max width divided by 2. Maybe that's where we're going wrong. We weren't setting both. And now I think we need to do the same thing we did for our camera here. Obviously this camera stuff is not final. This is just a hack so that we can see the world, we test the world generation. But now x equals minus start width. I mean, I could, at that point I could just do a just standard vector, but whatever. Oh, interesting. So our world is now over there. So our player is there. Z50. That's 50. 50-50. And our player is max width divided by 2. Didn't do it there either. Nice. So now we're getting in between. Maybe we should be doing 4 instead. I mean, I think we need to do half and half, but I feel like this is the same thing. I'm better than this at maths. I just it's late here and I really can't be bothered to do it in my head. You know what? Yeah, that was totally it. So now we've got a world spawning in the center, if we wanted to. Around us, but we don't want that. We want to keep it. I mean, I guess actually saying that, there's no reason why we couldn't have it go behind our barn house, is there? There's no reason why we couldn't. So actually, yeah, that's a perfectly fine way of doing it. That's a perfectly fine way of doing it. We are missing, though, that border in the middle for some weird reason. I don't know why that is. Hang on a minute. Int less than width. Int height offset is going to equal to that, right? And then we can do height offset, and then we can do int width offset is going to be equal to width is going to be equal to this. And then we're going to do width offset there, and then here we can do width offset. What are you doing? Hello? Say hello. No, you want to go down, don't you? Grabbed him at an awkward angle there because he's on the back of his chair. On the back of my chair. And he's on the floor now. Height offset. Okay. Progress. Quite right, but Z is greater than 0. Z is... Hey? What's going on there? What are you doing? Just see what difference this makes. Yeah, so we're going, that bit is fine. But it's this X is greater than... Do we need to do some, like... I should think about this logically, really, rather than just guessing. But hey, you know, it's the fun of it, right? Didn't work at all. So if we take a look, where's the code we just did? That. Oh, we completely broke it there. Oh, -1. Oh no. That's what we were doing before. Yep, so now we should have... Yep, so let's figure this... Let's look at this logically. So if we come out of this... No, cat... Oh. Let's climb inside the wardrobe now. Can you see him? Hang on. Hello? Yes, he went in that drawer that you could see right there. That's where he is. He's gone in there. Just see his little head. He likes to climb in there and sit in there. And you can see he can open the door and climb himself in there. Normally he would open it, but because there's there's boxes in front of the other door, it can't open the drawer. So, you can just see his head. There he is. Right. So let's look at this from a logical point of view and see if we can figure out what's going on. Screen back. So, this block. So that is 25, 25. And this is 26, 26. So it'd be greater than width offset plus 1 plus that. Because we want 26. No. Oh. Let's think about this. Hang on a minute. So, if it's greater than width offset, our border is, what's our border? 1, isn't it? So it would be plus border. And then would it also be height offset plus border? No, because we should only see one side make a difference. So we want 26, right? Because this is saying greater than border minus 1, and our border is set to 1. Let's just confirm it definitely is set to 1. Yeah. So this is saying if x is greater than border minus 1, which is 0, which is not the case. So it's greater than 0. So if it's greater than width offset, height offset, why is that breaking it? See, it's weird, it works. What if we took away the minus 1? Is that our issue? Minus 2. Because originally when our x was 0, border minus 1 is 0, isn't it? So if x is greater than 0, which is fine. So width offset max width divided by 4. We're using the wrong offset. That's what we're going wrong. Hang on a minute. If we do int height center, which is max height divided by 4. Thank you for incorrectly auto-correcting my center. We spell it RE, which is the correct way, but obviously in programming I'll use the American way. Center equals max width divided by 4, and then that gives us height center, and then width center, we'll just call it. It's not center, but yeah, you know what I mean. And then we do width center and height center, and hopefully that should fix it. Yes, there we go. We just need to think about it logically, and we can test that by changing our initial starting grid, so say 8 by 8. Should still end up with the center. We do. Let's change the borders to say 2. Ooh, that does break it there, which is interesting. 0 should just be all dirt, right? Okay, interesting. So let's put our initial roll back to 6. What's he doing? Oh, he's climbing up the clothes again. And does that as well. Come on, what's this like? This usually gets him out. Come on. There he is. There he is. You can just see him. There he is. You see the light there? Just come out of there, you. Come on. We don't want you going in there. Look, no, the light's down here. There we go. Right. Now we can focus back on this. So, we need to fix this border code. So it's this side now that's not working right. Width offset minus border is less than width offset minus border. So width offset is going to be width, which is half of max width. So max width is 100, right? Divided that by 4, you got 25, which is obviously doing half on half. So 25. And then if it's less than 25 minus border, or border is 2, so 23. So if x is greater than width offset, isn't it? Because our width center, so let's say our width center is going to be, so this is 25, right? So our width center is going to be 25 plus, yeah, and our height, our width is 6 to start off with, isn't it? So 6 plus 25 is going to be equal to 31. And our border is 2, so this is saying, so if this is 31 minus 2, which is 29. No, you can't get in there. Come on. thought I'd start streaming whilst he's asleep, and of course he wakes up whenever you want to do something. You know, and now he's lying on the floor. So if it's less than 29, because it works when we've just got a border of 1. So if we set our border to be 3, are we now going to get it wrong? Yeah. So it's starting in the corner fine, but it's this end bit. It's coming back too far. Because it's supposed to be -2 from width offset. +1 does fix it there, but if we go back to 1, it breaks it. So we need to scale this now, don't we? We need to scale it here. We can't do width center because that's just silly. Because now if we want 2, we actually need it to be +1. No, wait. Which means we need a int width border offset, which is going to be equal to width offset minus border. Come on, stop. No, stop climbing up things. Come on. You can't jump up there. I just had it in my head, so I got sidetracked by the cat. Minus border, and then half of border, because if we're doing 3, we want it to be 2, so then we want to do plus mathf dot ceiling border divided by no. You're gonna pull everything down. Come on. I'm distracted him with the laser. It's over here. Look. Right, hopefully I'll keep him occupied for 2 seconds. Right. Float int. Right. So that is actually going to be width border offset. Let's see if we've got this right. So border 1 still works. Border 2. That worked. That worked. So now we just need the same thing here. Because we're doing offsets, we need to offset the whole thing, don't we? Everything needs to have an offset. So height border offset equals, and then width height offset. Well, yeah, we'll keep it all as the one thing. Height offset minus border plus mathf dot floor to int, and then border divided by 2. I mean, you could even go as far as doing int border offset equals that, and then you just do border offset rather than running that same calculation twice. That's a little bit more efficient. In fact, actually, then you wouldn't need to store that at all, or keep it the code clean like that. We get rid of our commented answers there. So now that should work still. Everything should still work. So we've got 1, change our border to 2. Oh, okay. We just didn't have it working one side though, didn't we? We had this definitely out to there. Ah. That's made things worse, hasn't it? That fixes it. But it's not 2 anymore. That still breaks it there. I'm sure we just had it working on one side. It's not 2 though, is it? Again, so this is going to be 25. This is going to be 31 because it's plus 6, which is width. So 6, well no, 6. Yeah, 31. Our border offset, this is going to end up equaling, so we want 2 minus, that's the smallest, we want the largest, so we floor that to int. Border divided by 2, so we've got 2 for border, haven't we? Yes, so 2 divided by 2 equals 1, and obviously that's 1, it's not decimal, so that's 1. So border minus 1 is actually equal to 0, no 1, isn't it? So then this is going to be 30. Which is giving us the 1. If you went to 1 on there, 1 divided by 1 is 1, so again that equals 1. If we went to 3, so 3 minus floor to int, so 3 divided by 2 is 1.5, it gets rounded up to 2, so that then becomes 1. Which we're back to that again, aren't we? Still doesn't explain why that has 2 there though. But if you did 3, so 3 minus 2 is 1, and then you got the width offset minus 1, which is 30. So if it's less than width border offset, less than 30, which is 29, yeah. But then if that's 1, why is it changing when we do that? Why don't we go back to when we had it working? I'm sure we had it working one side. Maybe we didn't. Maybe it was just looked like it worked once. Yeah, see, look. You got 2 there, and you've got 3 there. That's working as intended. If we did 1, 1, 2, you have got 2 there. So it's definitely this that's taken effect, isn't it? I know it is. I'm getting mixed up, aren't I? Height offset minus border, so that is again 31 minus 2, which is 29. It's correct there. Fine there. Right, I think I've sussed what's going on here. Right, so it's not our end code, it's our start code that's not being applied. It's this we can totally ignore for now. It's this, isn't it? Width center. If you set this to there, that gives us 2. No, don't jump up there. No. No. That's fixed it. No, then it breaks. Oh, because you can't have, because it's 6, so you have to go 7 to increase it. Yeah, that works. So that's, I don't, getting confused there. If we go 12 and then try 3. We should have it equal. Yes, we do. Okay. And then let's try an odd size world. That's not going to work when you only got that. No, no, no. It does work. Okay, so now it works. We was just being an idiot. I was being an idiot. Okay. We can remove that, we can remove that. There we go. Plus border minus 1. That plus border minus 1. There we go. Ah. Okay. Cool. Let's go back to our original world. So now we can maximize and play again, and we've got our world, and the whole world gets generated around. Awesome. I am very pleased with that. Actually, to be fair, I quite like the camera following it like this. So next time we will work on upgrading this camera code so we're not just attaching as a parent and adding boundaries to the world. So that's something to do next time. I'm going to make a plan of all the things I want to do to this game, and then I can plan out the streams for this weekend. So I'm going to leave it there for tonight. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. This is actually quite a big change to the world system we've done, because now, as you can see, it lets us do any size world we want. We can change the initial starting world size. Our border code still now works, and we've got our world renderings from the center outwards, which is awesome. And we've just now developed the system so we can dynamically add blocks into the world. Obviously you won't be pressing a key to do that, you'll be mousing over a block and selecting it, which we can work on next time. So no, stop, come on. So I'm going to go now because the cat's getting a bit restless. Thank you to everyone for watching, and I will see you next time.